Salute. Got another live one, guys. Y'all see the title? Boost testosterone levels naturally. I'm out here getting my steps in. In all honesty, guys, I plan to do this a bit more often. I can get my steps in and I can engage with my guys. Look, here's the biggest thing. If we want to boost our T levels, we got to get active and proactive, right? So in the last video I started with this, I was talking about why it's so necessary to boost your T levels naturally. Why we should do things, right, to put ourselves in the best position so that our T levels are thriving. It's because it's men we need it, all right? Point blank period. I don't care what it is that you're looking to do with yourself in your life. We need thriving testosterone levels to be successful. So I'm gonna keep pushing this, right? Testosterone, boost your testosterone, boost your T levels. Get to a place where your T levels are thriving because it's just gonna help you in all areas and aspects of your life, all right? Point blank, period. And I just love talking about this, I just love talking about it. The biggest thing, guys, as I had ended my last video, my live video, I think it was the day before yesterday or yesterday. Bodybuilding is key, guys. Build that body, lift weights, build that foundation, get stronger, lower your body fat, put on lean muscle. This is gonna help boost your T levels tremendously. And it really interacts together. It really coincides, collides, and interacts together. As you start to gain more lean muscle, and you start to lower your body fat, this is gonna boost your T levels tremendously. Remember, guys, body fat. We hold a lot of estrogen in our body fat, right? So you want to lower that body fat because the more body fat you have, the more estrogen you'll have. And the more estrogen you have circulating in your body, you're gonna cause a process to happen called aromatization. And guess what that does? If y'all don't know, y'all been watching me. For my guys who haven't been watching me, when aromatization starts, you're literally converting your testosterone right back into estrogen, man. Aromatization. All the testosterone that you do have is now being converted right back into freaking estrogen. So, you probably put a lot of work in. You've probably been grinding. You might have been watching Black Superman's channel, Superhuman Nation, and you like, yo, I'm doing everything to get my T levels boosted. But the body fat is still high, right? And you're wondering like, wow, why am I not getting the results that I hear Black Superman talk about, that I hear Kevin talk about? Kevin, Black Superman Lewis of Superhuman Nation. And it could literally be because you have a lot of aromatization going on because of the body fat that's on you. And you're converting the testosterone that you have right back into estrogen. So see, we have to be very, very cognizant of our estradiol levels, which is our estrogen, obviously, E3, right? And we need to know where our cortisol levels stand. We also need to know where our sexual, well, I don't even want to talk about that. Our SHGB or SHGB, we need to know where that is. We need to know where a lot of these other hormones are so that we can really dictate where our T levels are actually going to be. Some of these other hormones can lower your testosterone levels. Some of them can boost your T levels. So it's very important to have an understanding of this. This is why I encourage all my guys to get your levels checked. Make sure you get your T levels checked. But not just your T levels. Make sure you get all your hormones checked. Because you really need to know where you stand, man. At the end of the day, if you don't know where you stand, how are you gonna know where you're going? I'm standing right here, man. I'm literally standing right here. I know where I'm standing. I know where I'm at. I know exactly where I'm at. And because I know where I am, I know where I'm going, right? So it's really that simple. Get your T levels, get your hormones checked so that you can know where you stand, so that you can really have a good idea on where you're going. All right, that's a prerequisite. Any guys that work with me, any clients that I have, they all know. I'm getting my T levels checked anywhere from every 2 months to quarterly. Every 3 months. Get the levels checked to see where you stand. Now, once you know where you stand with a lot of this stuff, it gets a lot more simple. You give yourself a lot more power to manipulate and to honestly get your hormones where you need them to be so that your T levels are thriving. So you have to come to a level of understanding where you're like, all right, my cortisol can't be through the roof, because if that's through the roof, then my T levels are being attacked. Guys, you want your ratio, you want your testosterone to cortisol ratio to be at least 3 to 1, at least. And if you can do better than that, do better. But you want that cortisol, you want your testosterone and cortisol levels to be about 3 to 1, all right? With this type of ratio, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. Your T levels will continue to thrive. But back to the main point. You really, really want to work on lowering that body fat and building lean muscle, because the more lean muscle you have, the higher your T levels are going to be. And then guess what? The higher your T levels are, the more lean mass you can build. And guess what else? When your testosterone levels are high like that, you increase protein synthesis. Protein synthesis is a very important process when it comes to building lean muscle mass. The higher the protein synthesis, the more muscle you can build. So that's what I meant earlier when I said this stuff, it intersects. It works together. It all works together for the good. So when you're bodybuilding and lifting weights, you're increasing your muscle mass. Hopefully you're doing it right. Hopefully your diet is on point. You're increasing lean muscle. Hopefully you're burning fat if you have a lot of body fat on you. You lower the body fat. You start to lower the aromatization that's happening in your fat cells, right? So now you're knocking that enemy out, because that enemy right there, that's the enemy that's going to have the most detriment to your T levels, other than cortisol. So this fight, there's more deeper things to this, guys, but I'm not going to get into that in this live. I ain't going to get too scientific with y'all. But the two things that I want y'all to focus on is the two enemies: aromatization from fat cells and cortisol. Y'all got me? Y'all copy? These are the two enemies that I want you guys to focus on. Aromatization from fat cells and cortisol. Because these are the two enemies that's constantly going against and going at your T levels. And if y'all like what I'm talking about, throw a like on the video, man. So, let's start with the first enemy. It's getting dark too, y'all. I might have to flip this bad boy around and put my flash on so y'all can see me. I think that's what I'm about to do. But let's start with the first enemy. You know what? Yeah. Let's start with the first enemy, aromatization. So guys, like I said before, this is the estrogen that sits in your fat cells. So you You want to lower the body fat. This is for all my guys who are on the higher side of body fat, especially my guys that's over 17% body fat. If your body fat is over 16 and 17 body fat percentage, you need to be lowering your body fat right now. You need to be starting a fat loss phase right now for the sake of your testosterone levels. Because the more aromatization that you're having happening, where your body is literally using your androgen receptors to convert the testosterone that you actually do have right back into estrogen, your T levels are just getting smashed by the body fat. So this is why y'all hear me talk so much about bodybuilding. And this is the Superhuman Nation way. This is why I talk about bodybuilding so much and lowering body fat. Because you could really kick that aromatization right in the mouth, you know? You could really deal with that enemy. You could straight up drop kick Luke Kane, bicycle kick, aromatase right in the mouth when you start lowering your body fat. And that's gonna put you in a way better position, all right, with boosting this T. Naturally. All right, let's talk about the other enemy, cortisol levels. Guys, cortisol is a huge detriment. Cortisol is a huge detriment to T levels. Why? Because it literally antagonizes it. It's like cortisol and aromatase, it's like they best friends, you know what I'm saying? It's like they tight, like they've been tight forever. And their whole mission is to lower your T levels. It's like, yo, y'all see my man right there really trying to boost his T levels? He dead serious out here, man. Look at him, he going to the gym, you know, he trying to do A, B, and C, but his diet ain't right. So look, we could really take advantage of this dude. We could take advantage of his ignorance, you know what I'm saying? And we could legitimately stop my man from boosting his T levels. And that's what your aromatase, or rather the aromatization and your cortisol are saying to each other. They're like, yo, an enemy of my enemy is my friend. They're like, an enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So cortisol, like I said, it antagonizes your testosterone levels. Now, what's gonna cause that cortisol to shoot up high? Well, obviously stress. Stress is like the main factor when it comes to cortisol because it's the stress hormone. And don't get it twisted, y'all. Cortisol isn't bad. We need cortisol. Cortisol is a major factor with waking us up. You know, when you wake up in the morning, you just kind of feel that feeling when you're like, whoa, and you get up, it's because you're having a cortisol spike. That's why you wake up like that. Especially if you get up, you're like, oh, like, and maybe, you know, you might feel a little anxious. That's because your cortisol is real high. It's like, boom, right? There's other factors for cortisol and why cortisol is necessary. But listen, like I always say, too much of anything isn't good for you. Too much of a good thing ain't good for you. And it can legit be a good thing. So, how do we deal with that cortisol? The biggest thing is going to be stress management. And that's one of Superhuman Nation's pillars. You want to really deal with stress management. If you find yourself stressed out a lot, if it has anything to do with mental and emotional things and reasons, you're going to have to really learn how to deal with the mental and emotional stuff, whether it's stressful or whatever. If you're in a stressful relationship, this is where learning how to resolve conflicts can really help your testosterone levels. So these are things that you can learn, and these are actually things that we're going to be pushing with Superhuman Nation. I know it's dark, y'all. Y'all can't see me. Let me see. I'm going to go over here where this light is at. But these are the things that we're going to start bringing out, Superhuman Nation, all right? Another reason why we're going to bring this out is because it's just good to know as a man. It's good to understand emotional and mental intelligence, all right? But when you understand how to resolve conflict, when you understand how to self-regulate. If you struggle with self-regulating, then listen, your cortisol is always going to probably be high because life is life and life be lifing. And, you know, if you don't understand or know how to self-regulate, how to deal with things, your cortisol is going to be crazy. So the biggest thing here is you can do breathing exercises. Breathing exercises help tremendously, right? You can work on breathing exercises. One of my favorite breathing exercises is where you inhale for 4 seconds, then you hold your breath for 4 seconds, and then you exhale all the air out. It could take you 8 seconds, it could take you 10, it depends on the individual. You let all the air go. And then once you do that, breathe in for 4 seconds, get that air back in, hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out slowly. The way I do it, when I breathe out slowly, I like to kind of do my mouth like this, like you're trying to, whistle, or you're trying to blow through a straw. And you're literally gonna blow out that way and exhale. Dang, it done got real dark now, y'all. Hey, as long as y'all can hear me, we good, because it's the words, man. It ain't me and how I look and all that. As long as y'all can hear me, we good. But you wanna exhale like that, right? And exhale slowly. And I'm telling you, man, you do that for 2-3 minutes, man, you're gonna start to feel better. That really helps me self-regulate a lot. And I mean, anybody that I've talked to about it, they agree as well. Slowly exhaling all that out. And that helps out tremendously. But there's more information too that we're gonna be releasing about mental health, man, because it's a big factor. Now, granted, I know that mental and emotional health isn't a big thing for a lot of people, but I will tell you this. We all have stress that we deal with. We all have stress that we deal with. And if we don't know how to deal with that appropriately, it could really get out of hand. And it could really cause our cortisol levels to be super high. So, man, it's dark. Hey, boy, it's darker than dark, man. Hold on. Wow. Let me give y'all some sky while I'm talking. How about that? That's a view. So, everybody go through stress, man, and everybody go through life. And we just have to know how to manage that. If the stress gets too crazy, man, your testosterone levels is going to take a beating. And guess what's going to be the highest? Cortisol. So the more high your cortisol is, the worse your T levels are going to be. And that's just something that you got to keep in mind, right? So aromatization and cortisol are the two biggest enemies. And if we tackle those things, if we deal with those things, then it will really make boosting T levels a lot more easier. Now, I'm going to give y'all some actual herbs that could really help with lowering your cortisol levels naturally, even if you're going through a lot and it's kind of hard for you to really deal with it. The first one is going to be ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is absolutely amazing with dealing with cortisol levels being too high. Ashwagandha, I'm telling you, that's why it's in our testosterone booster smoothie. Ashwagandha is absolutely amazing when it comes to lowering cortisol levels. So you definitely want to incorporate that to help with that. Also, I'm gonna give you a real good tip right now. Some of the other herbs that you wanna look at are gonna be root herbs. So any herbs that end with root. There's a reason why it ends with root and why it's called with root, because they're grounding herbs, all right? So these grounding herbs really help with lowering cortisol because it literally helps with grounding you. It's the reason why they're called grounding herbs. So, ashwagandha root, obviously. Burdock root is a good one. There's a lot of, don't worry guys, I'll be doing a video where I'll go into detail on these root herbs. All right. All right, man. So I done been on here for a while. Let me see. Yo, if y'all left comments on here, my bad, man. I didn't even know. Let me see. I don't even know if I could even check it at this point. All right, that's cool. So, yeah, man, like I said, I just wanted to hop on here. I knew it was gonna get dark, but I didn't think it was gonna get dark this quick. So, it is what it is, man. Look, I'll be hopping back on here, and tomorrow, when I'm doing my steps, and obviously it's still daylight, I'll hop back on. And if not, tomorrow, as soon as I get a chance, man, I'll hop back on here and we'll go live, man. And yeah, and dig deep. But anyway, until next time, y'all. Because I don't see nobody on here, nobody asking any questions. It's probably because of the timing and all that, and it's dark. And if somebody's previewing this live, they're probably looking like, man, what the heck is that? what my man, Black Superman, got going on? You know, so. All right, y'all.